everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are taking a closer look at resveratrol. You've probably heard of it. Yeah, it's that supposed miracle molecule found in red wine and dark chocolate. We've got a lot to cover, a mix of some pretty fascinating scientific research and some really good practical advice. So let's jump right in and see if this resveratrol really lives up to all the hype or if it's just clever marketing.
You know, it really is interesting how resveratrol has kind of captured the public imagination, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's often touted as this key to heart health and, longevity and all that. But I think to really understand its potential, we need to kind of take a step back and start with the basics.
Okay, I'm with you. So for those who might not be familiar, what exactly is resveratrol?
So resveratrol is a polyphenol. Basically, it's a naturally occurring compound found in plants. You'll find it in grapes, peanuts, and berries. It acts as a sort of defense mechanism for the plant, helping them withstand stress. Now, while it's present in various foods, it really gained notoriety for its presence in red wine, which brings us to the French paradox.
Ah, the French paradox. That's a good one. The idea that the French, despite a diet rich in butter and cheese, have lower rates of heart disease. So is resveratrol truly the secret weapon? Is that what's going on there?
Well, it's definitely part of the hypothesis, right? Red wine consumption and therefore resveratrol intake is part of it, but it's not the whole story. Lifestyle factors and other dietary components probably contribute as well. But, this observation really did spark immense interest in resveratrol's potential benefits, particularly for heart health.
Okay, so there's more to the story than just resveratrol, but heart health isn't the only benefit attributed to it, right? I've also heard about its potential anti-aging effects, which is pretty interesting.
You're right. The potential benefits extend beyond just the heart, and this is where things get even more interesting. Resveratrol has been linked to the activation of sirtuins. Now, these are a family of proteins that play a crucial role in regulating various cellular processes. Think of them as conductors, almost like orchestrating a complex symphony within ourselves.
Sirtuins, cellular conductors. Okay, I like that analogy. I'm following you. But what exactly are they conducting? What makes them so important?
Well, sirtuins are involved in a really wide range of cellular activities. We're talking DNA repair, inflammation control, and energy metabolism. They essentially help maintain cellular health and resilience, which is crucial for overall well-being and longevity. What's really fascinating is that resveratrol can actually mimic the effects of calorie restriction at the cellular level, influencing sirtuin activity.
Hold on. Are you saying resveratrol could offer similar benefits to calorie restriction? That's the concept where reducing calorie intake without malnutrition is linked to increased lifespan, right? But isn't that supposed to be really difficult to maintain?
Exactly. Calorie restriction, when done safely and effectively, has shown some remarkable effects on lifespan and health span, especially in various organisms. What's intriguing is that resveratrol may be able to trigger some of those same beneficial pathways. It's pretty amazing potentially offering a way to tap into those advantages without extreme dietary changes.
So it's not about completely overhauling our diet, but potentially enhancing our cells' natural processes.
Okay, that sounds a lot more manageable. So what specific benefits are we talking about here? What kind of impact could this sirtuin activation have on our health?
Well, the list of potential benefits is extensive, and research is ongoing, of course. But studies do suggest that sirtuin activation, possibly influenced by resveratrol, could offer protection against a whole range of age-related diseases. So things like cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, neurodegenerative disorders, and even certain types of cancer.
Wow, that's quite a range. It sounds like resveratrol could be a really powerful ally in the fight against aging and disease. But if sirtuins are already present in our bodies, why do we need resveratrol to activate them?
That's a great question. While our bodies do naturally produce sirtuins, their activity can unfortunately decline with age or under certain conditions. And resveratrol, well, in essence, it acts as a sort of booster. It potentially enhances their function and helps maintain that cellular health even as we age. Okay, so it's like giving ourselves a little extra support to keep those sirtuins humming along. I think I'm starting to see why there's so much buzz around this molecule. But what about other mechanisms? Is sirtuin activation the only thing going on here?
That's a really good point. It's not just about the sirtuins. Resveratrol also has potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Antioxidants act like a protective shield for our cells, neutralizing harmful free radicals that can actually damage DNA. They can contribute to aging and disease.
Okay, that makes sense. But I've always been a bit fuzzy on how free radicals actually cause damage. I've heard the term, but I'm not sure I fully understand the concept.
Sure. So imagine free radicals as highly reactive molecules, kind of like these tiny wrecking balls bouncing around in our cells, causing damage wherever they hit. And the antioxidants, well, they come in to intercept those wrecking balls, you see, preventing them from wreaking havoc on our cellular structures. One source we reviewed used a really simple analogy. It's like wrapping your cells in saran wrap to shield them from those damaging free radicals.
Ah, that's a great analogy. I get it. So resveratrol acts like a bodyguard, protecting our cells from those tiny aggressors.
Precisely. And this protective effect translates to very real benefits. Resveratrol has actually been shown to potentially help protect blood vessels, which is crucial for maintaining a healthy cardiovascular system. There's also emerging research suggesting it might contribute to preserving memory and brain function, although more studies are needed in this area.
So it's good for the heart and potentially for the brain. That's incredible. But I have to ask, does resveratrol actually cross the blood-brain barrier to exert those effects? I mean, that barrier is notoriously selective about what it lets through.
That is a key question, and researchers are definitely exploring that. The blood-brain barrier is indeed a formidable obstacle. There's no doubt about it. More research is needed to understand how resveratrol might cross it and actually exert its effects in the brain. But the preliminary studies are promising, suggesting that it is possible, which is exciting news for those interested in cognitive health.
Okay, so there's more to learn, but the potential is definitely there. So what else is on the list of possible benefits for this amazing resveratrol molecule?
Well, we can't overlook its potential role in promoting healthy cholesterol levels. Studies suggest it can actually increase the good cholesterol, the HDL, and reduce the bad cholesterol, the LDL.
That's fantastic. I'm already picturing a future where doctors prescribe dark chocolate and red wine for cholesterol management. But seriously, what are the mechanisms behind those effects?
While the exact mechanisms are still being investigated, resveratrol seems to influence a number of pathways involved in cholesterol synthesis and metabolism. It may help reduce the production of LDL cholesterol while simultaneously increasing those HDL levels, promoting a much healthier balance.
So it's a two-pronged approach? That's great. I'm beginning to see why resveratrol is often touted as a heart-healthy superstar. What else?
And there's one more potential benefit to highlight, and that's its possible role in reducing blood clotting. Now, this effect is particularly interesting when considering resveratrol's presence in red wine, right? Because it also contains alcohol, which is a known blood thinner.
Ah, so the combination could potentially amplify that blood thinning effect, but I imagine moderation is key here, as with any alcohol consumption.
Absolutely. Responsible consumption is always paramount. While this potential synergy is intriguing, more research is needed to really understand the implications and potential risks.
Right. It's crucial to remember that even natural compounds can have complex effects on our bodies. So while all this sounds incredibly promising, are there any downsides to resveratrol? It seems almost too good to be true.
Well, you're right. That's a smart question, and it is important to balance our enthusiasm with a realistic look at potential downsides. Like any substance, resveratrol does have some potential side effects, particularly at high doses. We're talking about digestive discomforts like nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting. Not pleasant at all.
Yeah, those don't sound fun. Are those high doses typically reached through diet alone, or are we talking about the supplement route?
Well, those high doses are unlikely to be achieved through diet alone. They usually occur with supplementation, which brings us to another important point. It's time to address the hype and look at the practical side of things.
All right, let's get practical. Supplements are often touted as quick fixes, but I'm always a bit wary of those claims. Is there anything we need to be cautious about?
You're right to be cautious. Supplements aren't regulated by the FDA in the same way that pharmaceuticals are, so dosage and quality can be uncertain. This is particularly relevant for resveratrol supplements, where the amount of active compound can vary significantly between brands.
That's a good point. So how do we navigate this supplement landscape? Is there a way to ensure we're getting a high-quality product if we do go that route?
Well, doing your research is absolutely crucial. Look for reputable brands that have third-party testing. They need to verify the purity and potency of their products. Transparency is key. If a company isn't willing to share its testing practices, then probably best to steer clear. And of course, consulting with a healthcare professional is always a good idea before starting any new supplement regimen, especially if you have any underlying health conditions or are taking other medications.
Okay, solid advice. It sounds like a balanced approach is really essential here. Being cautious about those supplement claims while focusing on incorporating resveratrol-rich foods into our diets. So what are the best sources? I'm ready to revamp my grocery list.
Well, we've already talked about red wine, but let's explore some other delicious options. Red grapes are a classic for a reason. They contain some of the highest levels of resveratrol, particularly the Spanish variety.
Okay, Spanish red grapes. Got it. I'm already picturing a nice cheese and grape platter. But what about options for those who aren't big wine drinkers? What else is there?
No worries, there are plenty of other great sources. Peanuts, especially boiled peanuts, are surprisingly high in resveratrol.
Peanuts, really? So a peanut butter and jelly sandwich could be a sneaky way to get my resveratrol. But are all peanut products created equal in terms of resveratrol content? Or is one better than the other?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. While peanuts themselves are a good source, those processed peanut products like peanut butter tend to have lower levels of resveratrol. It's the processing methods that can affect the concentration of those beneficial compounds. But even peanut butter can still contribute to your overall intake.
Good to know. So whole peanuts it is for maximizing that resveratrol intake. What other tasty treats should we be adding to our list?
Okay, well, let's talk about dark chocolate and cocoa powder. They are surprisingly good sources of resveratrol as well, especially those with a high percentage of cocoa solids.
Now you're talking. So indulging in a bit of dark chocolate can actually be good for our health. This is getting better and better. What else?
Right, and let's not forget about berries. Blueberries, strawberries, cranberries, and mulberries are all good sources, especially when eaten raw, as heating can reduce the resveratrol content.
Okay, I'm loving this resveratrol-rich rainbow of fruits. Fresh berries, some dark chocolate, a glass of Spanish red wine. This is a pretty delightful way to boost our health. Anything else to add to the list?
One more, and that is pistachios. They're technically seeds, not nuts, but they do pack a punch when it comes to resveratrol, particularly in the skin.
Pistachios, got it. I love that little bit of trivia about them being seeds. It's amazing how many unexpected sources of resveratrol are out there. But before we get too carried away with our resveratrol feast, let's take a step back and summarize what we've learned so far. What are the key takeaways from this first part of our deep dive?
Well, I think we've established that resveratrol is a fascinating compound with a wide range of potential benefits. It's been linked to heart health, cognitive function, healthy aging, and even protection against certain diseases. It acts through various mechanisms, including sirtuin activation, antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, and modulation of cholesterol metabolism. And of course, we've also explored its presence in various foods, highlighting the importance of a balanced diet rich in natural sources of resveratrol.
Right. And we've also touched upon the importance of approaching supplements cautiously, prioritizing whole foods whenever possible.
Exactly. And as we move forward in our deep dive, we'll delve deeper into the nuances of resveratrol research. We'll be exploring some of the challenges, ongoing studies, and areas where more information is needed.
Excellent. I'm excited to uncover those details and get a more comprehensive understanding of resveratrol's potential.
There's a lot more to explore, so definitely stay tuned.
And to you, our listener, what stood out to you most in this first part of our exploration? What sparked your curiosity? We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive, unpacking the complexities of resveratrol research and addressing some of the questions surrounding this intriguing molecule. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of resveratrol. So we've established some of its potential benefits and explored some of its, I've got to say, delicious sources, but let's shift gears a little bit and look at some of the complexities surrounding the research on resveratrol. What are some of the, challenges or controversies that scientists are grappling with when it comes to this molecule?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles is bioavailability, how well our bodies actually absorb and utilize resveratrol. Studies have shown that it's surprisingly low.
Oh, really? So even if we're diligently incorporating all these resveratrol-rich foods into our diets, our bodies might not be getting the full benefit. Is that what you're saying? So what factors actually influence that absorption?
Exactly. It's not as simple as just consuming resveratrol. A significant portion actually gets metabolized and excreted before it can even reach our cells. Factors like, let's say, the food matrix, so the other components that are present in the food source, can affect absorption. And of course, individual differences in metabolism play a role as well. Some people just might naturally absorb resveratrol more efficiently than others.
That makes sense, I guess. It's like those combination supplements where certain ingredients enhance the absorption of others, right? So it's not just about quantity, but also how effectively our bodies can access and use resveratrol.
Yeah.
Are there ways to, improve its bioavailability? What are scientists looking at?
Yeah, researchers are exploring a lot of different strategies to kind of enhance resveratrol's bioavailability. Things like using specific formulations or delivery systems. For example, you can encapsulate resveratrol in liposomes, these tiny fat bubbles, and that could protect it during digestion and increase its absorption.
Liposomes, that's interesting. So it's like giving resveratrol a protective shield to help it navigate the digestive system and get where it needs to go. That brings me to another question, the dosage question. Is there an established recommended daily intake for resveratrol? Or how much should we be getting?
That is the million-dollar question, and unfortunately, there's no easy answer. There's no official recommended daily allowance, and studies have used a really wide range of doses, which makes it tough to draw definitive conclusions. And this is partly due to those bioavailability challenges we just discussed. What might be an effective dose for one person might not be sufficient for another.
Okay, so how do we know how much is enough to reap those potential benefits without, going overboard? Are there any guidelines or recommendations based on the current research, at least something we could look at?
While we do need more research to establish some clear guidelines, some studies have shown promising results with relatively low doses, especially when it's obtained from natural food sources.
Yeah.
That source we mentioned earlier that suggested aiming for about 1 gram of resveratrol per day. That was referring to intake from natural sources, not supplements.
That's good to know. That seems like a reasonable starting point at least. But what about those who, do opt for supplements? How do we navigate that landscape and make sure we're not exceeding safe limits?
When it comes to supplements, it's just crucial to proceed with caution. Those high doses we talked about earlier, the ones linked to digestive discomforts, are more likely to occur with supplementation. And remember, more isn't always better, and those high doses can potentially lead to some adverse effects.
Right. It's a good reminder that even natural compounds can have unintended consequences if we take too much. So I guess it sounds like a balanced approach is key here, focusing on those delicious resveratrol-rich foods, and if we do supplement, just being mindful of the dosage.
Absolutely. Food first. Always. And if you choose to supplement, do your research, choose reputable brands, and talk to your doctor or healthcare professional to determine if it's right for you, and to establish a safe and effective dose.
Solid advice. So we've covered bioavailability and dosage. What other areas of resveratrol research are scientists actively exploring? What's new and exciting out there?
Well, one area of immense interest is resveratrol's impact on the gut microbiome. So, those trillions of bacteria that reside in our digestive tract.
The gut microbiome. It seems like everything's connected to the gut microbiome these days.
It's true. It plays such a crucial role in so many things. Digestion, immunity, even mental health.
Yeah.
And now emerging research suggests that resveratrol might actually influence the composition and function of these gut bacteria. So it could promote a healthier balance.
Wow, that's fascinating. So resveratrol could be impacting our health not only directly through its actions on our cells, but also indirectly by, modulating this gut microbiome. Are there any specific gut bacteria that resveratrol seems to influence more than others? What have they found?
Research is ongoing, of course. But some studies have shown that resveratrol might promote the growth of those beneficial bacteria, like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, which are associated with improved digestion and immune function. And it might also help reduce the levels of some harmful bacteria, contributing to a healthier gut ecosystem.
So it's like resveratrol is helping to cultivate a flourishing garden of beneficial bacteria in our gut. But how does this relate to the overall health benefits we talked about earlier? Like, how is it all connected?
That's a great question. Remember those sirtuins we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, research suggests that there might actually be a connection between the gut microbiome and sirtuin activity. A healthy gut microbiome may support optimal sirtuin function, potentially amplifying resveratrol's beneficial effects.
So it's like a positive feedback loop. Resveratrol influences the gut microbiome, which in turn might enhance sirtuin activity, leading to a cascade of positive effects throughout the body. That's an amazing example of how interconnected our systems are. It's incredible how it all works.
Exactly. It really highlights that intricate web of connections within our bodies and underscores the importance of a holistic approach to health. Another exciting area of research is the development of what are called resveratrol analogs. So these are synthetic compounds that are structurally similar to resveratrol, but potentially with enhanced bioavailability or specific targeted effects.
So it's like like tweaking resveratrol to make it even more effective, what would be some of the potential advantages of those?
Researchers are exploring these analogs as potential therapeutic agents for a really wide range of conditions, from cancer to Alzheimer's disease. By modifying the structure, they can potentially fine-tune its properties, make it more potent or more easily absorbed, or maybe even more targeted to specific tissues or pathways.
That's incredible. It really sounds like the future of resveratrol research is full of possibilities. But I have to ask, are there any potential downsides to these analogs? Are they safe?
Well, like with any new compound, thorough research is crucial, right? To understand both the potential benefits and the risks. Analogs may have unintended side effects or interactions that are different from those of natural resveratrol. So, careful testing and clinical trials are essential to ensure their safety and efficacy.
Right. It's a good reminder that while science is constantly pushing boundaries, we have to proceed with caution. And a healthy dose of skepticism, probably. But it is definitely exciting to see these potential applications for resveratrol and its analogs in so many areas of health and wellness. Are there any specific groups of people who might, benefit more or less from resveratrol's effects, who should be paying extra attention?
That's a great question. While more research is needed to provide any definitive answers, some preliminary studies do suggest that certain populations might experience more pronounced benefits. For example, some research indicates that resveratrol could have really positive effects on cognitive function in older adults. It could potentially help maintain brain health as we age, which is really exciting.
Wow, a potential weapon against age-related cognitive decline. That's certainly promising. What about any other groups? Is there anyone else who might see more benefit?
Yeah, there's also some evidence that resveratrol might help improve insulin sensitivity, which could be beneficial for people with type 2 diabetes or those at risk of developing the condition.
So improving the body's ability to utilize insulin effectively. Yeah, that's good news for those struggling with blood sugar regulation. Anyone else come to mind?
Well, athletes have also shown a lot of interest in resveratrol. Some studies suggest it might actually enhance athletic performance and recovery by improving blood flow and reducing muscle damage.
So resveratrol, the next big thing in sports nutrition. It could happen. What are the potential mechanisms behind those performance-enhancing effects? What's going on there?
It's certainly a possibility. Resveratrol's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties might play a role in reducing oxidative stress and inflammation caused by intense physical activity. It may also improve mitochondrial function, those tiny powerhouses within our cells that are responsible for energy production.
Okay, that makes sense. So more efficient energy production and reduced recovery time. Yeah, that could be a game changer for athletes. But as with any supplement or, performance enhancer, it's crucial to consider those potential risks and consult with qualified professionals.
Absolutely. It's always crucial to prioritize safety and make those informed decisions based on scientific evidence and guidance from experts.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here in the second part of our deep dive. We've explored those challenges of bioavailability, the complexities of dosage, the fascinating connections between resveratrol and the gut microbiome and that sirtuin activity. And we've even touched upon the world of resveratrol analogs and their potential applications. So to our listeners out there, what stands out to you as we navigate all these complexities? What are you thinking?
Well, I think it's clear that resveratrol research is such a dynamic and evolving field, right? What we know today might be refined or even overturned by new discoveries tomorrow. This is why staying informed, asking those critical questions, and relying on credible sources of information is so important.
Wow, it is amazing how much we've learned about resveratrol, from its, humble beginnings in grapes and peanuts to its potential role in cutting-edge medical research. It seems like there's always something new to discover.
Yeah, that's the beauty of science. It's a continuous journey of discovery, right? And while we've, explored this fascinating world of resveratrol, there are still many unanswered questions that scientists are actively investigating.
I'm curious, what are some of those unanswered questions? What mysteries are they still trying to unravel?
Well, one area of intense focus is the long-term effects of resveratrol. You see, while those short-term studies have shown some promising results, we need more data on the impact of long-term resveratrol consumption, whether that's from diet or from supplements.
So basically understanding how those potential benefits play out over an extended period. Like, does taking resveratrol for, say, years offer sustained protection against those age-related diseases we talked about. Or there may be some downsides that emerge with prolonged exposure.
Precisely. And we also need more research on potential interactions between resveratrol and other medications. Resveratrol can influence a lot of metabolic pathways, so understanding how it interacts with common drugs is really, really crucial, for ensuring safety and efficacy.
That's a really crucial point. It highlights the importance of, consulting with a healthcare professional before incorporating resveratrol supplements, especially for those who are, managing existing health conditions or taking prescription medications.
Absolutely. Another area of active research is resveratrol's role in specific disease processes. For example, scientists are looking into its potential in managing those neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And understanding how resveratrol might influence those intricate pathways could really open up new avenues for treatment and prevention.
It's fascinating how one molecule can have such, far-reaching implications for our health. It's like we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it really is a testament to the complexity of human biology and the power of nature. And as we kind of delve deeper into these complexities, it's crucial to approach the information with a discerning eye, don't you think?
Oh, I agree. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of those potential breakthroughs, but it's so important to remember that science is a process of continuous refinement. What we consider groundbreaking today might be modified or even contradicted by future research.
Well said. That's why, relying on those credible sources of information, critically evaluating the evidence, and consulting with qualified professionals is paramount. It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge, not just blindly following the latest health trends.
On that note, I'm curious, what's your personal take on resveratrol? Do you incorporate those resveratrol-rich foods into your own diet?
Well, as someone who's, deeply immersed in this research, I'm certainly intrigued by its potential. I do enjoy a glass of red wine occasionally, and I try to include plenty of berries and peanuts and dark chocolate in my diet. But, I also approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism, I think. I'm definitely eager to see what further research reveals, but I'm also cautious about making any, grand pronouncements until we have more definitive evidence.
That's a great perspective. And I appreciate your honesty. I think it's important for our listeners to hear that even experts in the field approach these topics with a critical eye. It's not about just jumping on the latest bandwagon. It's about staying informed and asking questions and making choices that align with our own individual needs and values, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of choices, I think this deep dive has given me a renewed appreciation for the power of, food as medicine.
Yeah.
We often get so caught up in supplements and quick fixes that we kind of forget about the incredible healing potential of just a whole foods diet.
That's so true. Loading up on those resveratrol-rich foods it's not only potentially beneficial for our health, but it's also incredibly delicious. It's a win-win.
Exactly. And it's a great reminder that taking care of our health doesn't have to be complicated or restrictive. It can be as simple as, savoring a handful of berries or indulging in a square of dark chocolate or enjoying a glass of red wine with dinner.
And that's what I love about exploring these topics with you. It's not about, fear-mongering or pushing a specific agenda. It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge and making those informed choices and ultimately finding joy in the process.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to bring our deep dive to a close. It's been a pleasure exploring this fascinating world of resveratrol with you.
A huge thank you to you for sharing your expertise and insights with us. And to all of you listening out there, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. We hope you found this deep dive informative and engaging.
Remember, the quest for knowledge never ends. There's always more to learn and more to explore and more to uncover.
Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay healthy. Until next time, keep diving deep.